Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Game Skits. Today and only today, we are here to do a mini review of Metroid Dread. Now, usually Sundays is podcast day, but we've moved it to a bi-weekly sort of thing we do. So today, it's just going to be me. I'm going to give you a nice little video. I feel like that's what I'm going to do. So from now on, podcasts will be bi-weekly, but on Sunday, I will drop a sort of mini discussion video like this where there's no edits, you know, it's just music in the background, no footage, no nothing. You just get a little nice chit-chat, you know what I mean? So I know a lot of people are like, Phil, you're not streaming on Sunday. I can't do anything else. And I'll be like, well, you know what? You still get to hear my voice, you know what I mean? You get to see me on Twitter. So you're stuck with me. I don't know. I can't help you. But either way, we are here to talk about Metroid Dread. Now, also, I know it's a game that people don't want spoilers on or they don't want to see footage of. So, you know, I was like, you know what? This is perfect for just a low-key discussion here. So let's talk about Metroid Dread, man. This game. So last night, so basically, I beat it, I want to say a few days ago, and then I 100%ed it last night. So I have my thoughts gathered. You know, I feel like I've gone the extent of the game that I can. You know, I don't think I'm gonna be doing stuff like the hard mode and all that because, you know, as much as I want to, I feel like there's a lot of games right now. Like, I gotta get back to the Demon Slayer game. I want to go back to Tales of Arise. I gotta finish Monkey Ball. So Sora's coming in time. There's a lot of things going on at once to warn right now. Going back to hard mode is not necessarily the best, but man, let me tell you about Metroid Dread. Easily, by far, my game of the year so far. Like, just by far my game of the year. I'm about to, but I can't say enough good things about the game because, you know, I'm a Metroid fan. I really enjoy the series. I've played, you know, I played the original. I even played 2. I've played Fusion. I played Other M. I played Prime 1 and a bit of 2, but I have like zero recollection of 3. And I didn't get to play Samus Returns on 3DS because it came out in that weird time space. Remember, like the first year of Switch, where like Switch was out and we were all like, why are they still putting games out on 3DS? So I never ended up playing it, but I really want to now. But yeah, so I played a lot of the Metroid games and of course Super Metroid. Wow, how did I forget Super Metroid? And man, this game is incredible. I think this game, from the atmosphere to the environments to the boss fights to the exploration, the combat, the gameplay, just everything knocks it out of the park. And you know, I'm not shocked because the way Nintendo is marketing this game is very different. Like, you can tell Nintendo knows their game is gonna be a banger when they market the living shit out of it. That's like it's a very noticeable trend. You know, they'll do it with like Smash, they'll do it with Mario Kart, they'll do it with Zelda, they'll do it with a lot of their key franchises. And I love that they treated this release with their marketing as like a key franchise, because holy shit, does it hit everything well, you know what I mean? I think the game is also, it's not even that long. I think obviously a lot of people's timer in game isn't correct, because so like a lot of people you see on Twitter will be like, oh, they beat it in 8 to 9 hours, right? But a big thing about the game is it doesn't count when you die as your timer. Like, it'll put you back to the timer of right when your last save was, or like right when you spawned forward doors. So I'm sure most people's time hover around like 10 to 15 hours, really. Obviously, unless you're one of the psycho speedrunners out there, which there are. I looked on YouTube earlier today. There's only a speedrunner to beat the game in an hour and a half. Like, the fuck? So people are gonna go crazy with optimally playing the game. But God, the game is so dope, man. And I think one big part I really adored about the game the most was just how fluid Samus felt. Like, the way Samus's movement in this game is amazing. Like, you, even just from the beginning, now later on in the game you feel like a god with how much shit you could do, but even early in the game, like the way you're sliding, you run quickly, you do your blasts, you do your jumps, and then you have like, you get the morph ball and you can slide into the morph ball. It's like the way the game implements more and more mechanics to make the movement feel even more fluid is something I really appreciate. Not even just in some ways, it's very like, sometimes it feels very Sonic. Like, I know obviously like, oh, not everything's Sonic. Everything is Sonic if you really look deep into it. But like, honestly, a lot of it felt like your spin attack, you know, sometimes it feels like Sonic the way you're wall bouncing with it and all that stuff. So just it was a very cool feeling when you get the speed boosters to it. That's not really spoiling. Why am I blinding myself with the slide as I'm talking about this game? But like, the way the movement evolved throughout the game was awesome, and even in combat. And what I love about it is, like, you know, in a lot of games where, you know, you'll have like a weapon wheel, wheel, you know, like you'll hold down on the D-pad to switch weapon. Here you don't have that, and I really love that because like it ends up being that like, you know, you'll hold L and then you'll press R to do like, you know, the rockets or something, or you'll hold another button to do a different move within that same move set. You know, there's no weapon wheel or anything. It feels, like I said, very just organic. Everything feels like an upgrade to Samus and not necessarily just like a thing that like doesn't make sense of tethering it to you with a weapon wheel or something. Obviously I like weapon wheels in games, they work out, but here I just love how everything felt like it flowed super well with the combat and movement. Speaking of the combat, amazing too. Like I said, like you have your blaster, obviously the regular one. You have rockets, which are like your main thing you're going to be using throughout the game, and then you get like mega blasters, then you get like triple shots, and then you get more powerful triple shots, and then in the more ball you get a bomb, more powerful bomb, a crazier bomb. Like I don't want to spoil all the upgrades, but like there are some really cool ones you get later in the game where you're just like, oh my god, this is fucking awesome. And the game, just like many Metroidvanias, you know, and obviously Metroid is one of the founders of the Metroidvania. It is just so cool to see the king at home. You know, obviously Samus the queen, but like, you know what I mean, the king of the genre at home, because the way in this game like it clicks in your head the more you're like, oh yeah, I got this upgrade, now we can now I know what that block was in that area that I couldn't get to before. So you start to go back to explore and find things and all that, and I felt like it was just so satisfying. Exploring and finding shit was so satisfying, especially at the end of the game. Like obviously I beat the game and then I went back to 100%, so going back to all these areas where I was missing shit. And also if you're looking for stuff, remember your map, like there's an area that like glows white, you know, like it glows white a bit. That's like where there's a secret. Now not every secret in the game is pointed out by that, but most likely you can find everything by looking at the map. And also later in the game you get a scanner. Now I do wish they had put that scanner earlier in the game. I feel like for a lot of people that complained about difficulty, that would have been really nice, because there's a lot of people that are like, I got lost, I didn't know where to go. And I'm like, I feel like if they had added that scanner where you could scan your environment and shows you like the invisible spots, I feel like that would have helped a lot of people in there. But again, I was mostly fine. I think I only like during the main game, not like finding secrets and shit, I feel like I had to like look up what to do 2 times. That was really it though. Those are the 2 times I was just like, I have no fucking clue where to go, but I did figure it out for the most part of the game. Well, once I really understood the flow of the game and the world, it works out really well. And also the game isn't that brutal. Like it's not like you'll be like, oh, I have no idea, I have to go back to the first area. It's like, no, like a lot of times you'll be in a map and they'll give you like a teleporter to go to a different area, and you'll be like, okay, so clearly the game is like inclining me to go to this specific spot of this area. Why? And then you'll explore and you figure it out. So the game has a very, like I said, very kinetic energy of making you just progress and understand what's going on. So that shit was clean. Now another thing I really love about the game, the boss fights. So you have your moments in the game where you have mini bosses, which are really cool, but you have the full bosses, and god bro, those are so dope. Like they are so fucking cool. The way you battle them, the way you learn their attack patterns, and it felt very it just felt like I've been through this kind of boss fight before, you know, especially because not necessarily recently, but like a few years ago, whether it was Cuphead or old school Metroidvanias or old school Metroid games, or even I was playing recently the Castlevania collection, just getting stuck in a room with a boss, right? And at first it feels impossible. You're just like, how the fuck do I do this? Now, it's not necessarily Dark Souls. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's hard. That's not true. Like, this is way more forgiving because of how many health tanks you have in the game, and just in general how much more quick you can figure out the patterns. Because really, the bosses in this game have like a few attacks they do. So once you really learn that, you start to go in those bosses like losing less and less health as you go in there. And people were showing me online like these sequence breaks you can do during the boss fights. Like pay attention to your environment and what you can do in the boss room, because often there's a way you can do like crazy damage to the boss without you even knowing about it, which I really love and appreciate. I love that. Even if I didn't do it, I love seeing that people did that. And even like amongst friends, right? Like, don't say it. Amongst friends, like a lot of people like I that told me they were beating it. The boss is different. Like I saw videos of my friends fight. The way they fought enemies, the way they fought bosses was very different, and I really like that shit because it makes it so even there's certain puzzles in the game that you solve that are very different than how you solve it with other people. So it's bro, man, let me tell you, bro. I know I'm gushing about this game, but it's 'cause it's fucking awesome. So boss fights, really awesome. Yeah, I don't want to spoil any, but let me tell you something. The final boss of this game Incredible, man. Nintendo, that's like one of my favorite final bosses and one of my favorite final sequences and all that shit. You know what's a perfect out of context spoiler for the final boss? Sephiroth. Like that's all I'll say. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you're like, what the fuck, is Sephiroth in the game? Maybe Sephiroth is in the game, you'll find out. But either way, that final boss, that final sequence was just fucking immaculate. Mwah! I love it. You love to see it. So a boss is awesome. Now obviously exploration, big part of the game. Like I said, there's sometimes you can get lost if you're not sure what to do, but like I said, shoot everything, bro. Shoot everything. And there's these puzzles in the game. Now this is something that people had to teach me because I had no idea how to do it. It was these shine spark puzzles or like speed booster puzzles. Now for those of you that don't know, sometimes there's these blocks that are orange, right? And you're like, how the fuck do I do this? You have to boost into them. Now to boost into them, you have to use the speed boost you have to press down to store the speed boost, and then you have to get to the blocks to break them. Now obviously that sounds easier than it is, but it's not, because sometimes they're really far away. You can't store that speed boost forever. It lasts just like for a few seconds, so you have to find a way to like get it back. So there's a lot of like cool ways they handled those puzzles. They're not necessarily always brutal. Like I feel like I solved them all except for like, I want to say there was like 2 to 3 that I had to look up because I was just like, I cannot figure this out. When I saw it, I was like, God fucking damn it, I was so close. And that annoyed me almost, because I was just like, it's just so good. You just want to learn that. But aside from that, honestly, like, it's pretty straightforward most of the time what you have to do. Once you know like what blocks are destructible and which aren't, and how you have to get it, I feel like a lot of the stuff just feels natural. And it was just, for me, it was so fun to 100%. Like I said, exploring is a massive part of these games, whether it's Hollow Knight that I really love or any of these Metroidvanias. It's just satisfying to go to the environment. Make sure to go back to places. I know like a lot of times I feel like, oh man, I don't want to backtrack all the way to an area I've been to. I'm like, but it is worth it, because as cool as it is, for example, that I went and got a bunch of upgrades when I beat the game, I'm like, well, I can't really do anything with it, but it was satisfying to get, you know. So there's that. And also the game doesn't necessarily reward you for 100%ing it. You get some dope artwork. I posted some on Twitter today, you can check that out. But it's just like, I feel like the game itself is satisfying enough to satiate that 100%. And even if you don't, game itself is just awesome there. And yeah, that's a lot of it. And the game, oh my god, gorgeous too. The way the game handles the music, the sort of like atmosphere. I was playing this on my OLED, and obviously, you know, I know the argument is like, you don't necessarily need one, but man, the way the colors pop on the OLED when you have the lights off at night too, awesome. I do wish the music was a little more impactful or like a little more creepy, because obviously a big part of the game we haven't talked about yet are the Emmys, right? The Emmys, man, let me tell you about the fucking Emmys. You all know little robots that chase you around. Fuck those Emmys, bro. They are a piece of shit. But you know what I like about them? Is they were never impossible. You know, they would always take a few tries, but I feel like there was always an easy, like not necessarily easy, but like by the end of it, you really get the, well, not necessarily, even like 3 Emmys in, right? Because I believe there's 7 in the game. 3 Emmys in, you understand, like you can stealth them or you can run away. Now, I don't know what kind of psycho, lucky, amazing person you are to stealth all those Emmys. Most of the time, I'm running. I'm sprinting for my fucking life. I'm doing the counter against them, hoping I get it, running away. That's how I live most of my life, because most of the time you'll go to a boss, you'll fight it, and then you'll get the giant blaster. Getting that giant blaster against the Emmy, fantastic, bro. Because even that sequence is stressful, because you can't just get that giant blaster and kill the Emmy. You have to like shoot its face, and then you have to rocket it, but it's still running at you. So, but I really do find the Emmys were a really cool thing. I was actually worried when like the game was first announced. I was like, are they gonna follow you around like the entire game? But no, they are in specific zones called the Emmy zone. So I think that was really smart of them, because I do think it would have been frustrating if like they were just generally running around the entire area you were in. So to put them in a zone, I thought was really clever. And there's a lot of times like within an Emmy scenario that you're going in and out of the Emmy zone, so you have time to think, reflect, and all that. So I thought that whole Emmy mechanic was really dope. And story wise, game, like I said, Metroid's a game that's very like lore driven in how you figure out the stories. You know, you like, people look at artwork and figure stuff out, people look at archives and, you know, in art books or all this stuff, or more of the Prime games have more story, but like for the most part it's very lore based. But I feel like this game did a good enough job at like explaining what is going on, shout out to Rhymestyle. The game did an amazing job of explaining sort of what is going on, and I really think, especially there's a moment here where I was like, oh shit, like you'll know when you get to it. But there is some really cool story moments in the game, and for the most part you understand and you're like, fuck, this is awesome. And Samus, you genuinely understand why she doesn't talk much, you know what I mean? And it's not because like obviously like people would like voice acting, but Samus I feel like is a character that like doesn't like, bro, like think about Samus, right? You are alone, isolated on a planet full of aliens where if they hear one sound from you, they'll detect you. You know, there's a really understandable reason why she doesn't say much at all, and I think here it really does work. And it's just, Samus is such a badass in this game. Like holy shit, the stuff they do, man, it's just, I'm so happy. Like having Samus feel like she's back really in her like prime element, and shout out, I just think it's amazing. Nintendo did an awesome job. I feel like now a lot of people are gonna finally fall in love with this character again, and you know, as we hype up more of the future of Metroid, it's great, bro. With it, whether it's Samus Returns on 3DS we got, and whether it's Ridley and Dark Samus in Smash, or Metroid Prime 4 coming in this game, and the future, it's like, I feel like just Metroid is back, and I don't think, and I hope we do not return to the time of nothingness or barely anythingness or ihness, you know, with some of the games, like, you know, like the spin-offs. But I'm just so happy, man. Like, your hype man is satisfied with this game. This blew my expectations. I was incredibly happy with it. I'm in love with it. So thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Mercury Steam, for making this shit. It was clean, it was awesome. 60 FPS for most of the game. I know some people have said there's some FPS dips when shit gets intensive, but for the most part, smooth 60. Beautiful environments, awesome. Oh yeah, speaking of environments, really cool, different looking environments. One of my favorite ones was this sort of nature Donkey Kong Country almost looking one, with some of these like flowers that break when you step on them. Either way, environments, bosses, gameplay, everything fantastic. My game of the year by far. I don't know if anything's gonna beat it. I mean, the only game coming out next is Super Mario Party, Pokemon Diamond Pearl, and Advance Wars, and three of those, like literally three of those games are essentially remakes. So as much as I'm gonna love those, Metroid Dread is a new experience. Fantastic. So let me know what you guys think of the game. I'm in love with it. I'm so happy. And let me know what's up. And of course, if you want me to do more of these more laid back discussion videos, let me know. Sometimes I love to do the editing and stuff. Sometimes I like to keep it like this. So that's it. That's all. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your day. Thank you all for watching. Peace out. I love you.